Hello, Contractors of Colorado. It's your host, Andrew Lavrins, here with an episode of the Contractors of Colorado podcast. We've got a special guest today. As always, before we jump in and announce them, I'm going to thank our sponsors. So thank you to the Business Foundry for everything you do, for hosting us in our space. We have quarterly events, our monthly meetups. The Business Foundry is an integral piece to who we are, and I encourage you all, please reach out to them if you need any help in your entrepreneurial journey. And thank you as well to the Builders Outlet, another one of our sponsors. Cabinets, doors, windows, trim, anything you need. They're located in Denver, right by Empower Stadium. So reach out to them, let them know we sent you, and they will take care of you. And then lastly, thank you to our newest sponsor, Lendio. We have lending options now for all of the contractors. So if you need any finances for your business, whatever the reason may be, please come sit down with us, talk with us. We'll introduce you to Bill and he can take care of you. So thank you to Lendio for coming on board as well. Today's guest is Mr. Dale Dixon with the Better Business Bureau. Welcome.
Thank you. This is a cool space.
Thank you.
Yeah, the Business Foundry. The coffee upstairs,
Phenomenal.
it's off the charts.
Phenomenal.
It's a reason to come here and do some work.
Yeah. It took me, I think, 5 months of them being here before I got anything except a drip coffee from them because it's so good.
Yeah.
Their pour over coffee is phenomenal.
Exactly.
So,
Yeah.
well, welcome. So you role with the Better Business Bureau, Chief Innovation Officer?
Yeah, and everybody looks at me cross-eyed whenever I say that. It's like, what the heck is a Chief Innovation Officer? So it's super simple. It's innovation is adding value. That's it. So we're all innovators at some level. We're all figuring out ways that we can add more value in our jobs. So for Better Business Bureau, it is how do I add value to my colleagues, the employees of Better Business Bureau, finding ways for them to do their jobs better day in and day out. So innovation can be anything from continual improvement to some big invention.
Yeah.
You know, you think about that first iPhone that rolled out in 2007. Most people think of that as innovation. And yes, that is part of innovation. But innovation can also just be that constant improvement that we're all searching for in our daily lives and in our work. And then innovation outside of BBB is how do I make the brand more valuable for our members?
Yeah. Well, we've got some exciting announcements today. So before we get into all business, I always like to start these off with getting to know you a little bit. And we met for the first time. We've had a phone call, we've had some emails, but we met for the first time 20 minutes ago.
Exactly.
So I'm excited to hear this because it is as authentic and real as it gets. Who are you? What do you do for fun?
Oh, man. Well, so Dale Dixon and I'm just a farm kid is where it really starts. So a lot of that formation in life started on a farm. I'm from the West, love the West. When I got to my hotel last night here in Lone Tree, there were 4 adventure motorcycles parked in the parking lot. And I just went, oh, because that speaks to me. That's a big part of my hobby. What I love to do when I'm not working is be on the back of a motorcycle, exploring a mountain somewhere. If it's dirt road and it's somewhere I've never been, I am one happy camper.
That's awesome.
That's part of that. I'm married. My wife and I have 2 kids. We've been married for 30 years as this year. Yeah. So we, big milestone. We have a 22-year-old daughter and a 25-year-old son. Both are launched. So that's a lot of fun. And I've been with Better Business Bureau since 2007.
Oh, wow. So
It's been a road. Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Well, good. Now that we know you, now we can talk business.
Yes.
That's exciting. I also love motorcycles. What do you ride? So I have a 1978 Honda CB750.
Super sport.
Yeah.
The Super Sport.
The Super Sport Classic. I know.
All stock, or have you?
No, there's been some changes, but
Okay.
where that's the lifelong project is getting it back to its original state.
Of course. Oh,
It's nothing but time and money, right?
that's it. All motorcycles are.
That's all it is.
The cheapest thing on a bike is sitting on the seat.
Hey, we could be into boats, and you know how that is. But anyway, so Better Business Bureau, Contractors of Colorado. The reason why you're sitting here is new announcement, special announcement. We've partnered. We are launching a partnered membership here where we are utilizing your accreditation process to really position our contractors in Colorado as part of our organization as legitimate business owners that do things the right way and are opting into a program to put that out to the world and show everybody we mean business. We are serious. We are verified. We are accredited, and we do what we say we're going to do. And you are the entity that backs this up.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about the BBB, maybe the history, all the way to the partnership, whatever's on your mind. Let's hear it.
So for your listeners, because they're in the contracting space, I want to make sure I tell it through the lens of what's most important. And that is when you're doing what you're doing in the contracting space, it is so important for your customers and your clients to be able to trust you. And we can go into some of the stories of what we see at the Better Business Bureau on the opposite end of the spectrum. So when we saw Contractors of Colorado, what you're about, creating a community and building trust into the whole process, we're like, that is an organization we want to partner with because our missions are aligned. And it's so important in the community to have trust. Better Business Bureau was started inside of Coca-Cola.
Really?
Yeah, that's one of those. Really? Yeah. So back in the day, in the early 1900s, Coca-Cola was under a lot of scrutiny for its advertising practices, to the point they were getting hauled in front of Congress to testify about why they were making the claims they were making in their advertising. The head of advertising for Coca-Cola was aware of the risk of being hauled in front of Congress. So but had to continue advertising during this time. So he walked some advertising copy into the attorney for Coca-Cola, said, listen, we're under a lot of scrutiny right now. I don't want to get us in more trouble. Would you take a look at this advertising copy and let me know if it's going to get us in trouble? And the attorney said, I'm not wasting my time. Nobody believes a thing you people say. So if any of your listeners do anything with advertising, you've got to get your name out. You've got to attract clients. Advertising is an important communication tool in the business world. The head of advertising for Coca-Cola, Samuel Dobbs, knew this, and it was a real wake-up call for him in light of what his attorney inside Coca-Cola said. I don't believe what you're saying about our company. So he went to his colleagues at other big brands around the country, told the story, said, if we don't get a hold of this, the government's going to step in and tell us what to do and how to do it. And we're going to lose this important communication tool of advertising. So they came up with a plan to put a set of standards together, to make a commitment as each company to live up to those standards, and then create an outside third-party neutral entity to hold them accountable to those standards. Because I can sit here, as you said, we've met 20 minutes ago, and I can look at you in the face and in the eyes, and I can say, Andrew, you can trust me.
Done.
Not done. I hope not. But if I come to you and I say, Andrew, you can trust me because I have literally signed my name to a document that I'm going to tell you the truth. I'm going to be honest with you in all of our dealings. I'm going to be responsive to you. I'm going to honor the promises I make to you. I'm going to act with integrity through the process. I'm going to safeguard your privacy. And I'm being held accountable by an independent third-party organization, the Better Business Bureau. That completely changes the conversation.
Yeah.
As a business owner. And think about being able to do that as a contractor. When you walk in and, hey, I'm going to build you a $1.5 million home. You can trust me.
Yeah, that's basically it right now. It's insane.
I mean, really?
Yeah.
Are you really going to just rely on that? Well, I've got a portfolio. Yes. Or I've got a portfolio and I believe in this so much that I have literally signed a document saying I'm going to do these things. So that list that I gave you are the standards for trust from Better Business Bureau. There are 8 of them, and it's that simple. And when a business does that, it adds so much credibility. It adds trust to the equation, and it shows that you've got somebody in your corner, both as the business. We're here, I love to say, back to the Coca-Cola story, Better Business Bureau was started for business, by business, to keep government out of business.
Yeah.
So, and the contractors know the level of regulation that you're dealing with here in Colorado. It's significant. So everything we can do to raise the bar, to raise the tide, to raise the ships helps business. And we think that these 8 standards that are put in front of a potential customer, a client, does so much in helping a contractor earn trust and validate trust and show that you're serious about it. It's way beyond you can trust me.
Right. I love that. And thank you for some of the background on the Coca-Cola. I had no idea that that's where the BBB came from. So that's very cool. It sounds like at the core of everything the Better Business Bureau does, very similar to Contractors of Colorado, is trust, is trusting each other, trusting your GC that's leading the project, trusting your subs, trusting, just building an ecosystem where trust is mandatory.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this partnership makes complete sense. I'm excited for all the same reasons. That's something that this industry needs. We joke around here all the time. It's cowboy still. It's super cowboy industry. You can, we say, can you name me any other businesses where $50,000 can just get passed cash to somebody, or a check gets cut, or a bank wire, and it's just there and they have it, and it's based on that. You can trust me. Like, you can trust me that I'm going to take this. Well, you know what? I don't expect you to fully trust me. That'd be crazy. So just send me $25,000 for materials. And I promise, because again, you can trust me, I'll show up and I'll do the work. And what do you have? You have reviews online you can go look at. There's some of these elements of trust factors, but as I know, and my team knows, and a lot of the contractors know, those reviews and other things are easily influenced and can be bought and sold. And so how do we really dig our heels into our verification process and make sure that we are holding our contractors accountable for the level that we want the industry to be at, the professionalism we want it to be at? And that's one of those things that we had a preferred contractor program, but it was exclusive. It was one tradesperson per region. And we developed our own verification process, and it was extensive, and it did a great job. The guys that we have in this group, the guys and the ladies that we have in the group, are trustworthy and have done really good work for us. The problem was it's exclusive. So great, I've got 20, I've got 30 people. Now I'm kind of maxing out my regions, and I'm happy to help, connect homeowners to these people because I can trust them. But what about a second bid? What about a second option? Again, I'm here saying you can trust me, but I'm handing you one person. What if I could give you access to multiple and let you do your due diligence, knowing that everybody that's in this ecosystem is trustworthy? And that's where we got introduced. And it was like, I feel like we're just trying to do work that you guys have built. That's your spine. That's your backbone.
This is what we do.
Exactly. So I'm incredibly excited. I think there's plenty of benefits. And that's something else that I would like to talk to you about today, is some of those other benefits of the program that aren't just the stamp of approval from the BBB, just the truck magnet that so many guys think of.
Yeah.
Because that was eye-opening to me. And that's a big part of what I want out of this relationship. Is I know what it does for us. I want you guys to, besides just access to our audience, bringing on more accredited members, I want to use this as an opportunity to educate our audience on what those benefits are, because I was so the mediation benefit, absolutely incredible. You don't hear a lot of that.
No.
So please, anything that comes to mind.
Before we leave, I would love to remind folks, I was going to say, pull the curtain back on the vetting process. It's so transparent what we do. It's all on our website at bbb.org. But when you're talking about, the vetting that you did, I think it's important for your viewers and your listeners to know the level of vetting that we run. So we have a full vetting team at the Better Business Bureau, and this is part of the service that we're bringing and what this looks like. And so as a business asks to join Better Business Bureau, number one, it's an application process. We don't accept every business that comes to Better Business Bureau saying, I want to be a part of it. It is a significant process that they go through. So they come and they ask, and part of the process is we're opening the door for contractors in Colorado to make that request to Better Business Bureau. Then we vet. And our team vets. We look at history. We look at the owner. We look at licensing. We look at customer interaction. There's a variety of things that we systematically go through in researching a business to be sure that it is as good as it needs to be to display that BBB torch symbol. Because I tell our folks, we, the BBB brand, is only as good as the worst business that is out showcasing the BBB accredited business seal. So it's super important that we do our due diligence. We're all human beings. We're going to miss something. We're all fallible. So, but we work hard to make it right when that does happen. So I'm not sitting here saying we're perfect at this. We always have something to learn. We always have opportunity to get better, but we all strive to get it right. And that's what's important in this relationship with Contractors of Colorado, is that we're bringing that engine to help build trust in the community and getting access and more access to it. So that is super important for folks to realize that we're serious about this. So number one, at the beginning, not every business that asks gets in. And then we're actively watching businesses as well. The third-party accountability partner, the neutral third-party accountability partner is BBB. We are kicking businesses out when they don't live up to the standards on a monthly basis. You can literally go and see the list of businesses that have been. So we're serious about this.
Yeah.
We're dead serious about this. It's about trust. It takes a lot of time to build trust, and it can be wiped out in an instant. So this isn't just it's a serious partnership.
Yeah.
Is what I'm saying. It's a very serious partnership. So hopefully people hear that. So back the other things, when we think about Better Business Bureau and the benefits to a business, we think about it in several areas. The first is we're here as a validation of your trustworthiness. And that goes back to that conversation. So think about how you can use that from a transparency standpoint as you're putting together that build project. If you're the GC and you're able to go to a potential client and say, okay, I live according to this code of conduct. I'm with the Better Business Bureau, meaning I live to these standards, and you can put a piece of paper in front of that potential client and say this. And here's the other thing, because I'm with Contractors of Colorado, I also work to make sure that all of my subs are living to this standard, so that if we're doing a remodel, anybody that comes into your home, if we're building your home, I had a home built, and what I learned through the process was amazing.
Probably way more than you wanted.
Well, it was important because it showed to me that I chose the right GC when they explained their level of expectation for their subs. Like if you're a GC and you're saying, well, my client doesn't need to know about the subs, I'm going to push back. What happens inside that new build project is important for the ultimate home. They're going to want to know that, hey, all the HVAC vents were sealed until I moved in. And anybody who knows what I'm talking about. Mm-hmm. So that's the kind of stuff when you can sit there as a GC and put a baseline of trust in place through a validation process. So we're here to validate your reputation. That is significant. The second piece is, and you alluded to this, is we're here to reduce your risk and reduce your liability. How do we do that? We do that through dispute resolution. So, and the dispute resolution that Better Business Bureau offers is a 3-stage process. So Better Business, and this is where BBB needs to get better at telling its story. So when people hear BBB, they think about a hammer and an unhappy customer filing a complaint. And it's really a risk and liability reduction tool for a business. So yes, it is a complaint. And we know that any transaction is really at the core communication. So we have communication between a GC or a sub or somebody in the building contracting industry and a potential customer client. And that's human nature, is that sometimes communication breaks down. And when there's a breakdown in that communication, that's where Better Business Bureau is able to step in. And like I like to say, we're able to build bridges When there's a deep canyon between the customer and the business, we're able to tear down fences and get people talking. So the first step is really, it's an online tool and it's for dispute resolution. The customer tells us the story and in a formal way, and the business tells us the story in a formal way. And it's amazing. 95% of issues are resolved when we just get the story on paper. It's digital, but figuratively speaking, when we just get that and they can look at each other and say, oh, the business can say, actually, the customer signed a contract acknowledging these things. We stepped them through it verbally, and now they're coming back and they're not wanting to live up to the contract.
Yeah,
that happens a lot.
Oh yeah.
Or it can be the business looks at that story from the consumer and says, oh my gosh, we did promise to do that. Somehow it fell through the cracks. We're going to make it right. It's one of those two things is how most of the complaints play through. So just that initial complaint process helps resolve a lot. It's a customer service tool for the business. I tell businesses all the time, a complaint is a golden ticket for you to show what kind of customer service you really provide. And it adds to your track record that follows you everywhere you go in the business world. The second piece, if that doesn't work and we still can't get agreement between the contractor and the client in that first situation, then it moves to mediation. And this is where the value really comes because we're keeping you out of a courtroom. We're keeping you out of small claims court. We're keeping you from being sued. And this is where risk reduction is key. So in this case, a mediator comes in and listens to both sides of the story and works with both parties. And this is a neutral third-party mediator. And they work together to reach a conclusion, to reach some kind of, so it's a win-win situation. That's what mediators are all about. Sometimes that does not work. And then you have arbitration. And this is, again, where we save you a lot of time, a lot of money, because this keeps you, again, out of court. You don't have to hire the attorney. You could have an attorney involved if you want, but you don't have that very expensive court process when you both agree to going into arbitration. So hearing that full scope of offerings from Better Business Bureau, as a contractor at the very beginning, as I write my contract, I'm going to write in that we're going to run all of our dispute resolution through the Better Business Bureau. So if anything goes wrong, we commit to you, the customer, that we have an independent, neutral third party backing us up that's going to come in and help facilitate a conversation, keep the doors open, and help us find resolution to whatever the problem is. And that is truly risk reduction.
Yeah. I've been through the, not all the way to mediation or obviously the arbitration, but the dispute. We had a dispute filed against us early on. We didn't even have a BBB listing. You guys had no idea who we were. We're like, we just got a complaint and they said to reach out to this number, and here we were, and we had just gotten started. And it was at the infancy of our general contractor exam prep course. And now we got a year under our belt, and that class is humming along. But in the first class, we had one fun student who just didn't show up, didn't do the work, didn't pass the exam, and came to us and was like, didn't work. We were like, who are you? Who does he work? Anyway, so without getting too into the details, I'm going to file a complaint to the Better Business Bureau. And I was like, okay, go ahead, kind of thing. Like, that's fine by us. We'll stand by what we do. And we had really very little understanding of the BBB's process and what you guys did. And we got thrown into the deep end. And the first thing I did was get that email from you all, and it was like, hey, there's been a complaint filed. And it wasn't accusatory. There's been no judgment. It was very much like, this is one side of the story. Give us yours. And I just laid it all out and, had some objective examples of dates and everything. And was like, I just took it seriously. It was, but again, brand new business owner, brand new business, first complaint we've ever gotten about anything. And I was like, all right, how do we handle this? So I took it very seriously, responded, and submitted it back to you guys. I think there was one more, like, hey, this is what they said. Can you address this? And I was like, easy. Yeah, here's this, here's this, here's the attendance dates. Let me know what else you need. I'm more than happy to keep working on this with you.
Yeah.
And the BBB came back and was like, you guys acted in good faith. You went above and beyond, I think was the words that you used, to make this right. And if the student wasn't willing to accept that, then that's on them. You know, and so it was a very scary moment as a brand new entrepreneur. And at that time, you know, the business feels so fragile. Like anything could just, you know, drop the egg and crack it.
Yeah.
And I felt a ton of comfort when I got that email back. It was like, hey, the BBB has decided, you know, you're not at fault and everything's good. And that's the process. And I'm like, well, okay, awesome. And then a couple months later, I think we all got connected, or gosh, probably a year later at that point, we all ended up getting connected. And it's just funny how these things kind of work. And in the business world, it's like, now look at how far we've come. Look at how, I mean, you guys are in the same position, but now you're doing these sort of community outreaches, these groups that you're forming partnerships with. And for us to be one of the first ones across the nation, it's like, awesome. Let's go. I think it speaks perfectly to our audience. I think it speaks perfectly to a value add to our membership. You know, we have our private events. We've got, you know, the hats that I'm rocking today. We've got hats that we give all of our members, everything like that. This is just such a solid piece of it that, one, yes, gets them the accreditation and that stamp of approval. But two, the mediation, the language in your contracts. When I went through my onboarding, which is part of the process with you all that all of our members will receive, we have 2 onboarding specialists that I've actually got to meet. We went out to eat yesterday and it was awesome. And they're going to be here to help our community directly. So I'm pumped about that. But after talking with them and understanding the onboarding process, going through it, becoming accredited ourselves, the amount of benefits that are in that, just that little member portal, blew me away. So yeah, mediation's one. The contract was another one, having that language in there that you provide that you can copy and put straight into your contract. There were some educational pieces as well that I saw in there that were really cool that I didn't think the BBB had any experience with, but yeah, I was surprised again. So is there anything other than the arbitration side that you want to speak on?
Yeah, I would say reputation management is a big piece of what we do. And so it brings to mind that just recently we put a webinar together that gave 5 specific tools to businesses to use in reputation management and to think about how your reputation is outworking for you and attracting clients. And I was in a meeting with a guy who owns a concrete company. Most of his work was in laying foundations. And it's probably one of the best in town, and had great relationships with all the builders. He was the go-to. But he started to notice that there were a lot of new builders coming into town and that his pipeline of new jobs was starting to decrease. And he couldn't put his finger on why. He said, nobody's coming to us there. Our quality is suffering at all. Everybody's thrilled with the work we're doing, laying concrete. We'd like to expand and do some other things, some more flat work. And and as we were sitting there, it was a group of business owners, and we were like having this group problem solving exercise. And the guy sitting to my left had his laptop open, and I didn't realize it to begin with, but he just did a Google search of the other guy's concrete business and said, I can't find you online. And the concrete guy sat back in his chair and said, a website's just a vanity project. I don't waste my time with a website. And we literally had an intervention on the spot.
Yep.
And walked him through the reasons why you need to have a website. And here's what your website needs to have. Because as you said, you've got new builders coming into town, and they're out marketing. They're looking for who's gonna do the concrete work. And when they go searching, you're nowhere to be found.
Yep. It's the gosh, this is the story I cut my teeth on in Wyoming and Montana for years. This is the conversation I had to have over and over with small business owners when I was selling marketing solutions.
Yeah.
It doesn't resonate, and especially with a lot of the men and women that got to do it the old school way. I'm so jealous. I joke all the time. I would love to go back to the 80s and sell you Yellow Page ads. We would have the best relationship ever. Every time I'd come in, you love me. It's the simplest conversation. Hey, we can go from a $1 bill to a half page. Guess what you're going to get? More calls. How many more? Well, let's look at the guy who went from a $1 bill to a half page last year.
Yeah.
Like, it's easy, it's simple, it's clear cut. Now there's so many channels for advertising and for getting found. And it's not even, a lot of it doesn't even fall into advertising anymore. It is what you were saying, online presence, being able to be found. Gosh, I'm getting flashbacks just hearing you say these things. Like, you don't need a
Conversation from last month.
It's still, and it's going to go for another 10 years, I bet.
Yeah.
It's not going anywhere. It's just a mentality shift. And I understand it, because when you look at the history of how people were found, it was very simple. You had radio. It was usually too expensive for small business owners. You had television, but at that point, local ads were not even an option. And then you had the Yellow Pages, and you could put an ad in a book and get your calls, and that's where people went to look. And other than that, it was purely word of mouth. And if you chose not to do Yellow Pages, congratulations, you could make a damn good living on word of mouth.
Yeah.
That being said,
And that's where my friend in the concrete business, she was like, I just depend on word of mouth.
Yep. And I'm still running into plenty of guys who do that. And I always tell them, it's okay. Like, we have a full marketing agency in-house. This is our bread and butter. You're speaking our language. I tell these guys all the time, like, it's a funnel, right? Everybody talks about the sales funnel. Up top, you got all of your customers that would work with you. Word of mouth, it's not just one big funnel. You have a bunch of little funnels that appear to be one big funnel, but a sliver of that funnel is word of mouth. A sliver of that is website. A sliver of that's an online scheduling tool. And then all the other channels that you can have, good reviews, all that stuff. But everyone wants to communicate with you in their own way. Back in the day, it was walk into a shop. That was the option. Option 2 is pick up the phone. That's it. Now there's text and email and web chats and AI bots and all of these different things that you can use to get in front of a business owner and get in front of a client. The problem that I hear is it's not that word of mouth is a problem. I love word of mouth business. It's great. If you build your whole business on that, amazing. But we usually are sitting down with clients because at the bottom of the funnel, their sales aren't how they want them to be, or their profitability is not how they want them, or there's some piece that isn't how they want it to be. And that's where I encourage them, guys, it's not that your word of mouth doesn't work anymore. It's just there's not as many audience members funneling into that funnel anymore because they're aging out, or they've adopted technology, or they do something different than they used to. So your website and your online calendar tool, that's just opening up your funnel. So now you can work with people like you used to.
So here's the scenario of what happens. If you're depending on word of mouth, new builder comes into town. They're talking to some of the other builders. Who do you guys use for concrete? Oh, I use ABC. The new builder won't just take your word for it. He's going to go search ABC Concrete online. ABC Concrete has no online presence. I know it was referred to me by somebody I trust, but I'm going to do my own validation and make sure that business is there, and I can't find them anywhere. Now I'm really suspicious.
Yep.
And I'm gonna go to the next one that was referred to me. Oh, they've got a website. I can look at them. I can read the customer reviews. There's some level of cooperation to the referral I got.
Yeah. It's fun. We talk about that all the time too. The way that referrals have changed. A word of mouth referral, your best friend in the whole world. One, we don't trust our best friend in the whole world anymore. We trust Google. Why? Couldn't tell you, but that's what we
AI
is. Oh, they said do this. Thanks. I'll look into it. And then you go and do your own research. It's just a byproduct of having all the information at your fingertips if they have anything online. If they don't, we're right back to square one.
Yeah.
No searchability. It's also the way that the referral is passed in person. Like you said, Who did your driveway? Oh, it was Tom over at ABC Concrete. Awesome guy. Make sure you tell him I sent you. Like, they were just here last week. Sounds good. There's no business card pass. There's no phone numbers exchanged anymore. There's nothing like that. Why? Because of searchability.
Yeah.
It's already implied that you're going to go search ABC Concrete and at least pull a phone number. And in that process, you might check social media, you might check the reviews, you might check the website, but it's implied in the handoff nowadays. So word of mouth, it is. It's like the word of mouth itself. It's almost like, yeah, there's those referrals, there's lead handoffs, but they're not what you expect or what you're used to anymore. That person's not going to give you a phone call and leave a voicemail and beg for your time to call them back. And then you get to them a week later and thank you so much. Those days are over. I always tell the story about my wife. I've probably told it on this podcast once or twice already, but we're planning our wedding and we're like, all right, let's sit down. Let's do this thing. In the middle of COVID, so it was all a waste of time anyway, but I did that twice before we decided to go elope. But we're sitting there and we're reaching out to all these places. I'm, smiling and dialing. Who are you? I see your work online. It looks great, all of this. And I'm doing my research, my due diligence. I look over at my wife. She's reading her Kindle. And I'm like, hey, I get it. This sucks. You're introverted, not your strong suit. Picking up the phone and calling strangers. I get it. She goes, oh, no, I'm already done. What do you mean you're already done? You had just as many people to call as I did. Yeah, I went to their websites, and if they didn't have online scheduling links, I didn't work with them. And I was just sat there. And at this point, I've been doing marketing for years. And I was like, oh my God, I'm married to the customer that I talk about all day long.
Yeah.
The one who won't pick up the phone, the one who won't answer your calls back, but will book time online because congratulations. Now she gets to control what you can control, and that earns your business. It's just mind-blowing to me how much this industry has changed and is still changing. Like you mentioned, AI. God knows what this landscape is going to look like in 5 years.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
So be prepared. But anyway, so part of it, as you said, education. We help businesses think through that, think from the standpoint of their customer. This whole story that has been told over the course of the last 5 minutes in this podcast is a perfect example of how we're going to help prepare a business to actually go out there and earn the trust of a customer in light of how all those changes are cascading through what's happening and how a customer is finding and choosing a business. We're a partner. I like to think of BBB as a growth engine for your business.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I'm a broken record over here. I'm excited. I'm excited about the partnership. I'm excited about launching our new membership that's all inclusive to all of our members with an immediate extreme value add by bringing you guys to the table. I think I'm just getting started in my own journey in the BBB. I've gone through the onboarding and it just opened my eyes to whoa, there is way more than this little truck magnet than I see. And the thing that, but as we wrap this up here, a thing that I see a lot in our community is a lot of these contractors are very proud to earn a BBB accreditation. And I can't say that is true about a lot of these other review sites or anything like that. Like there's so many of them. I don't even want to say their names. I'm sitting here like, oh no, I'm going to say their names. And I'm just like, no, I don't even want to give them that airtime because this is where we're at now. Is I think that this is the start of positioning us to do something that does what they're doing at a very high level, but doing it the right way.
Yeah.
And that's what really bugs me about the way that these companies that I'm sure all of our contractors know because they've probably gotten called by them 5 times in the last 3 days. If we can do this and do it right, this business is great. And our membership's going to be fine and everybody's going to be fine. I think that some of these companies just took it too far and monetized it and made, I call them boardroom decisions, where in a boardroom, sure, it sounds great for that business's profitability, but when it comes down to who they service, the homeowners, the project holders, the contractors, there is so much that has gone wrong. And I think that this is the start to let's do this the right way.
100%.
And let's use your backbone, I called it earlier, of the verification process and the resources that you have teamed up with our grassroots audience and our members that we have. And let's see what we can do. and let's see what we can do with the Colorado construction industry. We've got ambitions. We've got game plans to go to other states all over the United States. Good news is you guys are already there. So we're catching up to you, but man, I just wanted to say thank you for coming out. I know you had to fly in here to come sit down. You're going to be at our event. You're going to say a few words at the event. So I just wanted to say thank you. Thank you for the partnership. And yeah, broken record. I'm excited, man.
And BBB is here. We're right in the Denver. We're throughout Colorado, obviously, and we're excited to be part of the growth of Contractors to Colorado and to bring trust. I'll highlight. You talk about the other. I can't even really use the word competitors out there. The other listing services, they've really set themselves up to be like lead magnets. That's not what this is. I hope you've heard through the course of this conversation that we're really here to help validate trustworthy businesses. We're here to help businesses grow through trust. And we're here to reduce risk and liability for businesses so that we're a true partner. We're a partner to Contractors of Colorado. We're a partner to the accredited business. And it's a lot deeper than, hey, you're not going to get a list of leads from Better Business Bureau.
Right.
It's just not the way it works. If that's what you want, go buy it from Angie, go buy it from Yelp, whoever else is out there, I can name them, go buy them.
Right.
This is not pay to play. You got to have a good reputation. You've had to earn it, and you have to be willing to commit to maintaining that reputation into the future because you see the long game. This partnership is for businesses that see the long game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think you said it perfectly. It's not pay to play.
Yeah.
It is not pay to play. And that's one thing that drives me so crazy about those other lead services is that's what they are. First and foremost, a lead service. And then that's some of the stuff I was alluding to, those boardroom decisions. It's like, oh, we're a lead generating service and people love it. How do we make them love it more? And then they're like, well, let's put our business heads together and come up with a good idea. What if we took that one lead and sold it to 3 people instead of selling it to 1? And then, of course, it just runs from there. It gets out of control and it stops servicing who they care about because it becomes a financial decision. So I love that. It's not pay to play. This is something that has to be earned. We are the exact same way that fits our mentality perfectly. Like this group, it's not for everybody. Everyone's welcome, but everyone's welcome if you want to adhere to the standard that we are putting forward, because that is what's going to change this. And there are so many disgruntled contractors across this state that do things the right way that the bad apples, they can't separate themselves from because they both wear contractors. They both, they both wear the contractor name tag. They both drive trucks. They both do, trim finish work. Well, trust me, I'm better. It doesn't cut it anymore. So I'm extremely excited about the partnership, what we're able to offer our members. Anything else you had on your mind that you wanted to get out before we wrap this thing up?
We're just excited to be here. We're excited to help businesses grow, the contractors grow in Colorado through trust, through doing things the right way because it's the right way to do it. And we think we're really enjoying this relationship already, and we look forward to great things.
Awesome. And I'll rip off the Band-Aid. I'll say it. I already got a lead. I didn't expect anything out of it. I was like, I'm accredited. This is awesome. I printed my certificate. I have it on, sitting up front, and all of a sudden I get an email and it's like, hey, Keith wants to reach out to you to talk about this. And I was like, oh, I'll give him a call. I'm like, where's his phone number? I'm like, oh, I don't have access to Keith yet. This is interesting. Okay. And then I just submitted back, like I got his request through the BBB portal and it hit my email. I emailed back. Yeah, happy to help. Here's kind of what I'm thinking. If this makes sense, connect me to Keith and I'm happy to have a conversation with him. 5 minutes later, got a text message I texted Keith because you released the information. I got his phone number, his email, shot Keith a text and was like, hey, it's Andrew from Better Business Bureau. And I'm so used to the experience of like, oh, this is a cold lead. Who's this guy going to be? Yeah. It's going to be one of those Facebook ones where he's like, I have no idea who this is. I did not submit this. Please stop harassing me. Like something like that. And it wasn't. He was, hey, I'm here. I'm in the permit process. I'm doing this. And I'm working with my bank. And all of a sudden I was like, okay, great. Let me know when you're ready to move forward. And we've got a call scheduled for next week. So it works. Leads are a byproduct of it, but I think that's the beauty of it. It's a byproduct of working more and leaning more into trust, because this is a trusted directory. People go to a directory they can trust, and then they source their leads from there. They source their contractors that they want to bring into their construction process. So I'm a believer. I'm excited to roll it out to the group. I think they're going to embrace you guys with open arms. And I think it's one of the coolest things that we can do as Contractors of Colorado is partner with a nationwide entity that we know has been around, that we know does things at a high level, and we can infuse our grassroots energy with the standardization, the process, and the mission that you all have that aligns with our mission. And I think it's going to be magic. So
Cool. Absolutely.
I'm excited for it.
I'll just leave you with one quick idea for your viewers, listeners, and that is, if you want to see just how amazing the contracting community is in Colorado, do a Google search for BBB Restoring Trust. We launched a program here in Colorado called Restoring Trust, and we have seen the contracting community rally around the idea of helping people who've been ripped off, and the stories are amazing.
Oh yeah.
So hopefully we can come back and have a conversation and another podcast about that. But I'll just leave that little tease with your viewers, your listeners, to just do a quick search. BBB Restoring Trust. Started here in Colorado.
Cool.
You have some amazing businesses in the community doing great work.
Oh yeah.
And they're raising the tide. They're setting a bar, and we're just excited to be a part of this. And we think Contractors of Colorado is like taking that. We're throwing fuel on that fire.
Yeah.
And it's.
I'm glad it came up.
It's gonna be fantastic. It's when you can build the reputation of an industry. It is so good, and everybody's a part of it.
Yep. I'm glad you brought up Restoring Trust. We'll leave that as the cliffhanger. But I had the chance. It was Megan, I believe. Yeah. I got the chance to sit down with Megan yesterday, talk about the program, and I was like, okay, out of everything that we have going on, this is the one that I've got my eye on, because it's meaningful, it's impactful, it uses both of our missions to do good to people that didn't know better. And talking with her, it's crazy, because this is one of, when I first got started doing this, and Contractors of Colorado, the word started spreading, my phone started ringing, and it was from people that had gotten burned on these projects. And they were the hardest phone calls I've ever had. Like, I've had tough client calls, I've had great these ones are just sad.
Because you didn't have an answer for them.
I have, and that's the worst part, is I just have to say, I'm sorry. Here's my attorney's information if you don't have one yet, but just heads up, don't expect this to be your silver bullet.
Now there's an
I'm
answer.
sorry, at least now you know, but knowing when you've lost $60,000, $100,000 to a bad contractor doesn't really help the situation much. So, and that could go on all day, but I'll leave it with this. I've come to realize it has nothing to do with that homeowner and their intelligence or their understanding. It is just, this is a unique world. Like I said, there's no standardization from one contractor to the next. So if we're asking a homeowner to be able to speak to that standardization to make educated decisions, that's too much. And I know it's too much, because one of the first calls that this happened with was with a woman who is a literal brain surgeon. So education, I'm going to go out on a limb and say this, she's a bright lady. And husband, small business owner, just not in construction. So with those two, if that can happen to them and they can get screwed over in this construction world with that, the understanding that they have, I'm like, man, we can't put this on homeowners. Homeowners cannot do their due diligence.
No.
So I'm very excited about Restoring Trust. We'll leave that as the cliffhanger. Thank you so much for coming, Matt.
Absolutely.
It's been a great conversation. And now I'm just ready. We've got our quarterly event. I'm ready to get up. Like, I was moving slow this morning. I was like, well, I got a big day ahead of me. After this, I'm feeling they got some wind in the sails. So thank you for coming.
And good coffee helps too.
Yes, it does. Yes, it
Thanks,
does.
Andrew.
Of course. All right. We'll see you soon. Thank you, everybody. We appreciate you for watching. Again, shout out to our sponsors. Thank you to Lendio, our new lending partner. If you need anything for your business in terms of financial lending, please reach out to us. We can connect you to Lendio. Thank you to the Builders Outlet, Cabinet Stores, Windows Trim in Denver. And thank you, as always, to the Business Foundry here in Lone Tree for all of our entrepreneurial needs. Thank you. All right, everybody. We'll see you next time.